Hey everyone, this is Stingray, and I'm out here in the remote wilds of someplace, USA. And I can hear a helicopter. Not sure what else is going on in the world today, but I seldom hear helicopters out here. In the meanwhile, as quiet as this place normally is, and I try to explain those concepts to people who oh wow, I can see the helicopter. Maybe you guys will get a look. Here, check this out. Did you see that? That was quite unique. Haven't seen that before, but that was really cool. Cool and also a little bit scary at the same time. I'm out here in the remote wilds of someplace, USA, and I'm taking care of a location for a friend of mine who's away for a to be determined amount of time. So while I'm out here, I'm trying to take on the daunting process of maintaining an entire household that I'm not familiar with. And in addition to that, a lot of things are in need of cleanup. And so by that, what I mean is that there are a lot of chores to be done. And before I can even do the normal chores that I need to get to, which includes all kinds of stuff, you know, from our normal daily lives, doing our taxes, things like that. And like I say, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and the way the house was left to me was with about 10 days worth of firewood to get through, again, a to be determined amount of time, which has been kind of forecasted about 30 days or so. So I did the math, and I've got probably, and this is going real meager, cutting it to the bare minimum, I've got about 10 days worth of wood, so I'm going to have to be pretty creative. Now, one of the things that I'm not lacking is creativity. I'm able to do a lot of things, a lot more than I know that I've deserved to be able to do, because I'm a, fairly creative thinker. And I've taken liberties in some places to get to where I am. And what I mean by that is, and I think we can all relate, but a lot of us have had very comfortable office jobs, and some of us have the luxury of working from home. And so, we take it probably for granted in terms of how many resources we get to do these fantastic jobs that we do around the world to help one another. What we don't always take into consideration is it worth it? Are these resources that we're depleting worth taking on so many luxuries? And I say luxuries loosely, and just as an example, yesterday I got a call from someone I know, and they were telling me about picking up some food from one fast food location and then also going to another fast food location that no longer had one of the menu items available for that afternoon. Now, here where I'm at, I've got a, what would you call it? Quite a jaunt to get down to any place where I can purchase anything that I can eat. And in addition to that, the town is small enough that there's not really just a whole lot of mega centers that have firewood and things like that. So when it comes down to it, I'm doing my best to stay put. And as you can see, I'm sitting outside. It's probably, I don't know, 40 degrees. I'm kind of guesstimating based on how numb my fingers feel that are holding this phone right now, and probably about right. Now, if you listen for a while, you'll hear the complete silence now that the helicopter is gone. Check this out. So I'm being proven wrong. I hear a lot of chittering of birds, and that's exciting to me, because sometimes the ecosystems that we go into, when we really listen, you can hear that there's not a lot alive in some cases. Life has been challenging for quite a bit of us, not just in humanity. Also, wildlife has taken a hit when it comes to making it through these challenging time frames. So, I circle back to these questions. You know, is it worth it to have all these luxuries available to us that we can choose from and build anew if we want to? And is it mindful consumption? Is it mindful consumption when we do things like take on a property in the middle of nowhere, to try and live there, and also consider being able to heat it for an extended period of time? How many resources does it take to heat this for an extended period of time? Now, you see I've got sunglasses on. It's overcast today. You can see the clouds, but you can also see the glare. And the glare is pretty intense. It's intense enough that solar panels would definitely be taking on some kind of a charge from this. And yesterday it was quite sunny here, even though it was just as cold. And why not solar? Why why not invest in outfitting every high consuming consumer to the option where they don't have to take on these overwhelming demands from the system that's already kind of being taxed, as it were. So again, this is for high functioning thinkers. I'm talking about an entire story. I'm sitting here in the middle of the most peaceful place, where we could either be high strung and worried about what kind of nefarious ways we can try to get even with one another, or we can be working towards bringing peace and order to the lives around us. And that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm out here helping a friend. I really can use some prayers for my friend, for their success in their endeavors. I would appreciate it. And also, if you get a chance to think about me as well, give me a bit of consideration that I don't freeze out here. And if it's worth your time and effort to understand that I'm caring for 3 cats and a few fish and a household of plants, and also that I'm doing a favor, trying to restore this home to a very smooth, livable arrangement. And if you give consideration to all of that, I would appreciate it. I don't know how I'm gonna manifest what I need without making money. I'm doing this favor for a friend. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not making this video on YouTube for money. But every once in a while, I ask people to look at the description link and see what I have written in there, just to see if it interests you. Look, here's one of the cats. Kind of interesting, huh? These cats look out for me out here. I don't know if you heard that a raven called out at that exact moment that I finished saying that. And I talk a lot about spirituality and communication and bringing peace to one another, and that health is wealth, and that we can literally eat our health, consume ourselves, either with negative energy or positive energy. And right now, I hope that when you hear me, you understand I'm trying to bring positive energy to a dire situation where you can hear what I'm saying sometimes. Listen again. I'm in a forest, and sometimes you can barely hear the birds. And I know they're there, and I know we're all going to persevere when we work together, but it seems like a lot of the population globally might be at risk, which, well, you know, we need to have some kind of balance. And if there's not enough resources to tend to everyone in the world, then perhaps there need to be fewer mouths to feed, so to speak. And I don't mean that in, let us have some kind of anomalies that cause these kind of cataclysms that might reduce the population of everything. What I mean is, it is what it is. So the way we should look at things, and to circle back to the conversation I was having with my friend yesterday, it's like we either view it as I can't do something, I'm not in a position to be able to do the things that you're doing, or we view things more in the realm of I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to be doing what I'm doing right now, whether or not I've got just 10 days. These cats are pretty tough. Normally they'll stay outside as long as it takes for them to get cold. I'm pretty cold myself. You might not be able to tell it, but again, I'm from Texas, and so sitting outside when it's about 40 degrees with the wind actually hitting me, it's just a constant, steady, slow speed wind, and it's just, you can't even hardly tell that it's blowing, but it's making the back of my hand cold. So I'm going to switch hands here for a second. You can't really tell how cold I am and how concerned I am that I have 10 days worth of wood for a 30-day stay here. And so what I think of when I think of that is I already took inventory. I know that I can go without for some time. Whenever the temperatures are like this, it's still manageable. And as you can see, if the cats can stand outside for a while and I can sit outside for a while longer, and I'm in my sandals. And those are just kind of pajama bottoms, to be honest. It's not like those are pants that I had on. You might or might not have been able to tell. If I'm able to sit out here and endure this, especially because I regularly happen to enjoy myself in nature in different conditions, then I would go so far as to say that some of the people who talk about, let's say for an example, earthing, have absolutely great insight into the fact that nature is nurture. And why is that? Well, when we begin to enjoy ourselves in nature in all kinds of different conditions, we don't become programmed to only be able to accept the things that we know. When we only accept the things that we know, well, that's the kind of thing I have to deal with, instead of that's what I'm grateful to have the chance to work at. If I for an example, view myself as having the inability financially to do something, then I may never achieve that dream, simply because the logic is, if I don't believe in it, how can I achieve it? However, if I myself believe that I want to have the luxury of enjoying a property that I help to upkeep for as long as I'm physically able to do so, and I open my mind to those possibilities, more and more I find out that someone else might need the help that I can give them, and they can help me in return. So it kind of works out. Everything kind of works out, is what I'm saying, when you follow the master plan, and the master plan is, you could call it the 10 Commandments, you could call it, following Jesus, you could call it spirituality, you could call it the universe, you can call it whatever you want. But the thing is that no matter which channel you decide to call it by, let's say for an example, I call it by religion and say, I believe in God. I believe the story about there was some example, his son, who was used, who basically died in some way on behalf of other people who didn't believe. And if I were to say that I believed in that, which I do, because no matter which channel you switch it to that's saying the same message, you start to understand with reverence the things that someone like a realistic Jesus would say. Jesus would say, "Take this and eat from it. This is my body," or "Take this and drink from this. This is my blood." What he meant by that, in my mind, is everything that we have the opportunity to have, we should be thankful for. We shouldn't be getting mad that they took the triple option off of the menu and only left us with the double. And how many different sides, for that matter, could you choose from? When you're looking at the menu. See, and you saw what happened right there. It's almost like I'm calling someone out. And the fact is, when I discuss things, examples that I see in the world, I am discussing myself. There are so many times when I've been frustrated about things that didn't go right. And in a lot of cases, it was because I was subscribing to energies that caused those things to not go right to begin with. For an example, if I'm constantly trying to keep the latest and greatest TV, then I'm constantly going to be faced with the latest and greatest bills that come with that, for such as accessories, subscriber content, etc. And all those things take away from my goal, which is, listen to this, check this out. Did you hear it? The raven? All of anything in the world that takes me out of this, it's just not worth it. There's so many fun things that happen here that make me feel like I'm playing as a kid again, How many days have you ever lived where you got to see a helicopter fly by and you were just sitting outside in your space? How many days were you sitting outside and you outweighted the cat because the cat got cold? How many days have you been thankful for being alive? I'm thankful. I thank God every day for being alive. And I do that by admiring everything around me and bringing peace to it, treating it with respect. The animals around me even can see when they hang out with me that I'm not there to hurt them. I'm there to help them. And, and I am. Check this out. I don't know if you could see through the sliding glass window, but beautiful cat. One of 3 that I'm cat sitting, and I've got some fish that I'm fish sitting to and some plants inside. And I was left with 10 days worth of firewood for a possibly 30-day outing. So I'm going to have to find a magical way, or be open to the possibility that God may bless me with overwhelming luck that allows me to go many days without even having to use the firewood that I have. So much so that there's even enough left for the owner of this property for when they return. Excuse me. As I've said, it's cold out here. The air is dry. And I'm in a kind of a foreign environment, so that all of the different things that I'm smelling lately, it's not like they're causing an allergic reaction, but with the cold and everything, I'm only a being enjoying a human experience right now. And in this human experience, I can say for a fact that I'm a much healthier individual eating mostly plant-based, and that's what I happened to find in among the bounty of other options that I had to choose from for food while I'm up here. I had even a pre-sorted array of items to make salad, complete with artichoke hearts and hearts of palm, croutons, and tomatoes. I had that in every option, going all the way to whatever was in the freezer. So I'm blessed. I have many options to choose from where I'm at. And a couple of nights ago, on this backdrop that you see behind me, I got to watch the deer walking by. Me and the cats were just watching the deer enjoy searching for something to eat. And I saw a hawk fly by from the same balcony, a beautiful hawk. And probably every day I get to see the ravens. There's not a whole lot else going on out here besides the general array of birds, and I don't even see too many mice or any other mammals out here right now. It's not quite the right time, and also it's better that way for the safety of these cats. It's just an observation. I know that as the years have gone by, things have changed a little bit, and sometimes I see more debris than I see animals. And by that I mean the things that we generate to use these environments. And what I mean by that is plastic, one-time use things that we know are not good for the environments, and yet sometimes we're bringing them into the very pristine wildernesses that we probably don't want to see these items in. If you can get on board with what I'm saying and understand what bringing peace to everything is, then great. Let's magnify our powers and our efforts by teaming up somehow. Like I say, I'm not after any kind of money or anything like that. I'm just after solutions. And if you're hearing this message and you want to help, just read the description. I'll type a little bit in there that says something along the lines of what I'm doing, maybe. And maybe you can understand that I do work too, a lot of work actually. And I stay focused on all my work, and I focus enough to where when I have that time off to enjoy my time off, you've got to understand, I don't have time to... It's funny what the subconscious will do. It's almost like it wants to emphasize, I don't have a lot of energy to divert to negative content. If you want to subscribe to negative content and hear that weekly, that's fine. If you want to subscribe to positive content and hear that daily with positivity, please subscribe to this channel and tune in daily. I'm not giving you a 2-minute segment of value less content. This is a true value meal. This is everything you need. We don't just live on bread alone. We also live on truth. Truth is an energy. And when we share energies, when we team up, when the Wonder Twins unite, when the high-functioning thinkers think on it for long enough, we understand what's right. And we're able to manifest things for one another, even the very situation that one another is facing down right now. So I've done what I can to showcase health and how health is wealth. I've done what I can to stay away from the addictive substances that we have in many of our foods and drinks, our beverages, our daily choices. I've done my best. However, no matter how we live, we're constantly going to be faced with things that we weren't expecting. Like I say, I'm up here in remote someplace or another. I've got a fridge stockpiled with things that weren't all 100% vegan. And so had to make some choices. Do I let this stuff go bad, or do I enjoy that I was given the opportunity to have all of these beautiful, amazing products that were made just so someone like me could enjoy the day in a place like some place like this. It's beautiful life when we accept the current. It's beautiful when we can hear one another's words. And if anyone knew what I was facing down, what I was going through right now, and some people do know that, if anyone knew what I was going through, they understand that I need this peace and quiet. They understand that I don't need to hear other issues because I got my own things going on. Big time issues. And on top of that, I'm also dealing with shortages of supplies, seemingly. Do I have a shortage, though? Or do I have a bounty? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at what each and every one of us has right at our disposal when we really just learn to turn off the tap for a while, stop spending it on everything that catches our fancy. That's the same as a toddler would do. You know, let's say for an example, have you ever gone to a place where there's a kid who has like every toy you can imagine, and they just get new toys every day, and basically all the toys just kind of fall to the wayside because there's always something new. There's always something new. That's kind of what we do with binge watching shows as adults. And so the same can be said about some of the choices that we make to consume things, whether we're watching certain shows, having certain kind of relationships, eating certain kind of foods, drinking certain kind of drinks, taking certain kinds of prescriptions. All these things are just basically additions to the channels that we subscribe to. If we subscribe to peace, we're going to hear the birds. We're going to hear them. If we subscribe to peace, when we hear the airplane, we're going to hear the people that are traveling to accomplish the beautiful things that we accomplish for one another while we achieve our dreams. And if we hear the concerns of others, we start to hear, hey, I can do something about this. How can I help? Because we're all just toddlers walking around in adult-sized bodies experiencing this human experience that some call life. No matter how we define it, whether there was a genesis or not, you have to understand you weren't the beginning. You know, the universe doesn't circle around you, but the universe does circle around you. It's a tapestry, and it's such a divine tapestry that if we're not careful, we can find ourselves, our threads being pulled out of the tapestry if it's an errant thread that didn't belong there to begin with. And those threads, when they're pulled out, are much harder to sew back into the fabric of the universe. And so a lot of us struggle to hear what it is to be grateful. And it's only because we struggle to listen. And so if you see these stories and you can't bother to listen and you can't bother to understand, then I'm not sure if you're a high-functioning thinker yet. That doesn't mean you can't get there. Food is mood. Yesterday I had my salad with artichoke hearts and hearts of palm and tomatoes and croutons and a goddess dressing. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. It's delicious. And I don't know if you heard that. My inner spirit agreed, if you could call it that. The subconscious is an interesting thing. The body gives different signs Even things around us give different signs. They're all positive confirmations when you're following a positive energy. Some of us cannot discern between positive and negative because what we're taking in is too discounted. And it's discounted in a way that might be harmful to someone else. And if we cut one, the other bleeds as well. It's just the way it goes. As my friend would say, that's what I have to deal with. What I would say is, I'm grateful that if we both can come to an understanding, let's say nature and mankind for an example, that if we harm one, the other one gets harmed in return, I'm grateful to know that we can immediately realign all of our thinking to include nature with our daily activities. Would I go and get that value meal and then go to the next place and get the other value meal if I knew how badly nature might be struggling because of these choices? Or would I choose to do something else that was more beneficial, like make my own meal, or do like that smart guy who inspired me some time ago said, would we go vegan for a while? And would we go a step further and not even think about it as vegan? Would we just try to go waste-free? And that even sounds great, doesn't it? Waste-free. If I wanted to get rid of my waste, I'm shaking my belly right now. If I wanted to get rid of my waste, imagine if I only consumed that which generated little to no waste. In other words, maybe I don't even buy as many grapes if they only come in plastic bags. I'm going to tell you something interesting. Every single thing that we consume comes in a very holistic alternative. If we consume orange juice, for an example, and it comes in a big plastic bottle, we also very well could have just purchased a small boatload of oranges. Why is it that we can get discounted bottles available to us sometimes when we couldn't maybe quantify spending the additional money it would take to buy the equivalent in actual oranges? Just as an example, is it the pay? When you're following the path of peace, some will call it the law of attraction, and some will use it for nefarious purposes if they're not able to maintain self-control. When you're talking about spending more to buy the thing that's right, spending more to do the right thing, in that case, we're not shorting one, we're not cutting one, so there is no bleeding of the other one. And what happens is suddenly you'll be blessed with the ability to never think about the cost difference again. In some form, the complete return of whatever additional cost it was to get just the produce will be bestowed upon you. That's a truth. It might always seem like you're coming down to nothing, but it also might almost make more sense to you because you're not storing up something that wasn't needed. You're not using something that's not available. You're not going to a place and then getting turned away from something. Instead, you are blessed with an opportunity to choose from something else if your menu item wasn't there to begin with. I know this makes sense to someone out there. Where are my high-functioning thinkers? Where are my high-functioning thinkers out there? I know you're there. Please click on subscribe, comment, tell me where you're at. Maybe during some point in time during this series, I might tell you where I'm at. I might even show you the work I've been doing. I'll tell you what, it's difficult work. It's every bit as difficult as any work out there that someone has to do for someone else. So to maintain a property for someone else, it's a lot of work. It's a favor both ways, though, because I get to stay out here in this amazing mountainscape. And there aren't really any visible houses around the entire proximity of this location. So it's pretty unique. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to help my friend out in this location. I'm blessed to have met all the people I've met. I'm blessed to have the conversations I have on and offline. And I'm also blessed with the opportunity to resonate and magnify peace and blessings. So if you're wanting to bring me negative content, that's fine. I don't subscribe to it. If you're sharing comments that are negative, that's fine. You know, I know a lot of people want to get a rise, and haters do make you greater, so hate on. If you're trying to send energy like that, that's great. Just be very careful, because I was once told the "don't tread on me" flag was kind of something that pissed off people because they associate it with one political party or the other. For me, I only picture nature itself. And if a rattlesnake were there and I went to step on it, especially intentionally, I deserve to be bitten and envenomated. Because how cruel must I be to go out of my way to stomp out a life? You know, I understand a lot of you have kids, pets, and areas that you want to maintain. But what if? What if that rattlesnake is the one that kept the one rodent that was going to get into your pantry out of your pantry? What if its job was to protect you, maybe even from people that might trespass at night, hunting illegally, for an example? I'm not saying that illegal hunters deserve to get struck and bit. I'm just giving you theoretical concepts which any calm, high-functioning mind can process. Don't tread on me, to me, simply means, yeah, you don't want to, you almost passionately say it, I don't want to step on a snake because it might strike me. Don't tread on me. That's a pretty cool saying. It's so short. The equivalent with less hostility, with less venom, is called peace be with you. Peace be with me. When I'm at peace, I'm less likely to lash out for any kind of unknown reason to anyone or anything. It's not until I'm caught by surprise by something that I might lash out. And even then, my demeanor is going to determine to what extreme anything happens. So I think that's enough for today's segment. I say today's, I might go to weekly content. I have a lot to do here. And I don't expect to be commenting back and forth or doing any kind of online communication. I'm just telling you a story. And I'm telling you a story because some of you understand my background and what I'm dealing with offline. And whether or not you do, some of you understand better the things that I'm saying, which are basic, logical. And I'm not asking for you to take my word as the final variation of what I'm saying. What I'm asking is for anyone who hears what I'm saying to comment, have a discussion about these things. Maybe put something on your own channel that I can watch as a response. And maybe we hear each other that way. I don't know. Right now, we have the ability to communicate. Right now, nature is needing our nurture. And I've been outside for 40 minutes in this cold. Um, the cat here is looking to come out again, finally warmed up enough to come back out. I'm getting to the point where I'm having trouble keeping one hand or the other in my pocket because they're both cold. But I'm going to feel a lot warmer inside for a lot longer now. That's the beauty of delayed gratification, even for comforts like warmth and shelter. There are things we can do without, and there are people way tougher than me. I know that. But for some reason, there are also people who may not appear to be grateful for the things that they've got. And those kind of things cause me these same type of discussions over and over. And they cause them so many times that I decided to really focus my channel on bridging all of the topics the way that they make sense to me, as if I had a whole lot of work to do. And I really just wanted to get it done so that I could enjoy my time listening to the ravens calling out overhead, watching the deer. Certainly not watching TV, I'll tell you that. I haven't turned on a TV since I've been here. I've listened to an audiobook and music while I've been tending to the house. When I'm finished with tending to the house, the numerous things that needed to be addressed, I will then complete my taxes. I really have been struggling to look for a CPA who hears the way that I'm talking and would like to help me out with business taxes. The CPA that I've got currently sometimes misunderstands what I'm saying and gets very angry, and it's like they thought I treaded on them, and they're striking out at me, and really they're just striking out. There's people who are friendly with one another, and there's people who aren't, and that's just the way it is. And I wish you great success in your endeavors. I hope everything works out for you. I know it will, and you know it will too. You've always known. That's why you always get what you want. Now, all you have to do is remember to focus on what you want. Focus on it so much that you're like a kid on whatever holiday it is that you wake up grateful to open your gift. Maybe it's your birthday, I don't know. Whatever it is, focus on it like that. Be happy. Know that you're going to anticipate that you've already got something. And that's how it works out. I'm not worried. I'm never worried, but I'm not greedy. So I'm not sitting there anticipating, all that wood. I certainly wasn't anticipating the helicopter flyby that we got to witness early on in this video. Do you remember that still? Or did you forget already? You saw a lot in this video. Why would I need to edit anything to have any kind of flashy showmanship? I don't. That's just the way it is. I don't have time for that. If I had time, when I have time, I will do that. I promise. But right now, I just took almost an hour-long break, and now I have to get back to work, and I'm going to work knowing that as the sun sets, I'm going to basically room to room, move backwards, back up into the master bedroom where I'm tending to the cats throughout the night. They still like to go in and out at night sometimes. I mean, every one of us sometimes has to potty at night, right? So I'm going to work back, making sure all the lights are off, making sure the doors that need to be closed are closed, making sure whatever's going to keep me heated is going to be there in place, making sure I've got power going to what I need it going to. And right before I'll make my next dinner, my salad, just like the other day, with hearts of palm and and tomatoes and artichoke hearts, croutons, and I'm going to enjoy my dinner, which is probably the same thing that I would have wanted to enjoy if I was in the big city right now. Doesn't generate a whole lot of waste if you do it right. It's delicious. It's nourishing. Keeps my energy in a non-agitated mode. And that gives me the capability to accomplish the tasks that I'm faced with this level of clarity and focus that's compelling enough that I would tell you over and over if you were my best friend. And you are. If you're watching this, you're my best friend. There's no way around it. And as my best friend, I hope you subscribe and have a comment here and there that I can possibly participate on. I may not be able to comment a whole lot until I'm back into a mode where I've also been blessed with some warmer temperatures that help me to, and also a more structured living style out here in this otherwise foreign location to me. So once everything's knocked out, I'll catch up on the backlog of whatever communications there are. Please continue to bring me positive energies and positive stories, and I'll do the same for you. And also deliver us from evil. You know, the whole. If you just, no matter which side you're on, when you hear things like a prayer, for an example, the Our Father, if you're able to say it and just say each sentence, listen to the sentence and understand. Like, for an example, I'm not going to say the whole thing. Don't get scared, any of you who are not into this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. If I had a father who I regarded highly and he passed away, I would talk about him with reverence. And for the very fact that I have life here and I'm able to do these things that I want to do, I'm absolutely grateful for my father for ever having shown me the way of the outdoors. He did that indirectly, but he's the one. He's the reason I went to Big Bend National Park. And US 385 is the highway to Big Bend National Park. So if you don't know what that is, and if you've never seen it, well, I got to tell you, you need to make time to understand all of your local national park resources, just like I did when I was in Texas. Right now, I'm in a whole other remote location where I'm going to enjoy the nature that's here right now. I'm going to get back to the cats who are anxiously awaiting my return to the inside of the house. And peace be with you, you know? I wish you the best. And anything that you want, I hope that you're able to manifest it, to get it. I only ask that, like myself, that we all come to the understanding that some things that we're manifesting, whether it be errantly or by advertised media, that we consider, some of it might result in something that takes from another. And that's all good and well if we're trying to have a super immediately telling slowdown of humanity and nature. But at the same time, it's kind of scary when you think about how we consume resources in ways that sometimes we can become addicted to far too easily. So take care of everyone. Mostly take care of yourself. Everyone else needs to have that insight that they want to take care of themselves too before any kind of actionable results can be had anywhere. We can all learn and follow along with the script, which is why many of us fit into jobs and roles that anyone theoretically could do. And yet we are all also very creative and cunning if we're not too gentle with the way we describe ourselves. And we're all very cunning too. And so if we have to survive in a place where we thought we didn't have what we needed, we're cunning enough to come up with ways to actually overcome. So, oh, here comes a super wind. I've been out here for almost an hour, guys. Can you believe it? Some of it is basically for what I learned from a friend of mine recently. Some of it is from another person I know who told me about earthing. Earthing is a very interesting concept. I'll talk about it at some point. It's the same thing as nature is nurture. Um, there's not much else I have in mind right now, but I did want to tell you I've got a lot going on. There's definitely some challenges in my life, but the biggest challenge is that I'm facing an extreme amount of work, and my relaxation is something that I cherish very much. And so, if for some reason, let's say for an example, you offered to give me a ride to work and you were only listening to angry type of, metal or rock or whatever early in the morning, and I mean angry, and I had just woken up and showered, and it was like, 5:30 in the morning, and we weren't going to start until 6. I don't like to start out that amped up. And that's fine if everyone wants to start out that amped up, but if I run into early morning traffic, I don't want to be shaking a fist at anybody. I don't want to be throwing negative energy out to anybody because I know it gets resonated right back. So listen to some of that rock, the lyrics that you hear. Some of it's not just angry rock. There are some amazingly powerful, not angry, not judgmental, but very observant rock songs. Words are powerful. Some people think that even curse words are, and curse words are defined as curse words, but what really does, let's say, I think it's the energy. The energy that we can say all words with is what's really detrimental. And that's why if you were to go through the 10 commandments, using the central focus point of, again, you can shift it and use any topic, any logic that you want. But the energy, if I was preparing a meal for someone and it was just, it was like I was hostile, and even if that means I was preparing that meal for myself, like if I was really mad that my value meal item wasn't on the menu anymore, and I still got a menu item, but I was real mad, who's that energy coming out on? You might think it's going to come out to the person at the window taking the order, but in the long run, they're not going to really think about you when the day's over. Only you are going to sit there eating that value meal thinking, this wasn't the thing that I wanted. Being angry. So I wasn't angry that I didn't have the exact kind of lettuce that I normally like here. I wasn't angry that I'm coming up with this challenge of enduring, as a Texan, enduring these extreme temperatures. Not very extreme after our super extreme winter, are they? Where we had freezes. It's still pretty extreme here. It's way more extreme than what we get in Texas. But right now, I'm grateful. I'm always grateful, and particularly I'm grateful that right now I've got what looks like a break in the weather where I can do these things and succeed whether I'm in sandals or not. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. Don't forget to share with friends if this resonates, because I'm sure that your friends somewhere in your group, if you're thinking about this as in any way compelling, somewhere in your group you've got a friend who's like me. They're running into circumstances where they need to get the next question answered, but they really need to team up with another person. Where two or more are gathered in, you've heard it said, I need my friends to step up to the plate and discuss these things a little bit further in ways that make sense. So have a great day. Thanks again for watching. Peace.